It started off like when I was a kid, my grandmother had a braid cut off from her hair that she kept in a drawer in her bedroom, and I just was fascinated with it because it was a part of her, but it was the ghost of her youth, It was kind of creepy but mesmerizing at the same time. I consider a thread of hair to be like a line on a paper. So for me, it's a lot about drawing and painting in a three-dimensional way. We have such a strong emotional connection to our hair. It's like our relationship with the beast. It's the remnant of, the wildness that we possess. That is like a curiosity, and you can't really put your finger on it right away what it is. When I came across this memory flower when I was a teenager in the antique shop I used to work, I realized like that before photography, it was a way to hold on to a person by like having a body part. A lot of people find hair so creepy once it's off the body, but it's such a pride and beauty when it's on the body. But it's the same fiber still. I hope to evoke, these kind of simultaneous feelings, the opposites of disgust and beauty, so that, you kind of like, it pulls you in because of its ornamental, elements and colors and softness, and it's kind of like cuddly. At the same time, you feel kind of disgusted because it's like got this volume of this hair, and you have to decide in the moment like which way you're gonna go. This kind of pulls you into two directions, and then you have to kind of like settle onto one feeling. In Poland, people have a totally different relationship to my work because of the Auschwitz camps, where they would take people's hair off and use it to stuff pillows. People would cut off somebody's hair just to hurt them. It's a way to break down resistance of the person, dehumanizing. And the same in the army. It's like to make people uniform. I just think it's like culturally fascinating to look at hair as a way of origin, as a way of expression, and as a way of creativity. And people are more open-minded about variations in character. I used brown hair in the beginning because I wanted to kind of comment on the humanity in the use of the hair. And I felt like that's more expensive and that's going to be nicer and fancier to use, And then later on, I started using colors, and it looks a little bit like wool, but it's actually synthetic hair extensions. It's more associated with Halloween and wigs and dressing up. It was again, like my way of like breaking down my own preconceptions about what's noble and what's not, to kind of like also use something that's like lowest quality, but kind of make it really look like something glorious or whatever. I can get a lot more exciting colors in this hair quality. One of the first pieces I did was in the window of MoMA. And I had 10 days to do it. It was really intense, something organic and baroque and very maximalist and kind of loud. And I'm still meeting people that just, are telling me how happy it made them every time to pass this window with this colorfulness, It's almost like color therapy, It's a way of also like addressing the pop culture and how to take something that's mass-produced. It has such an abstract usage in our world. Colorful hair extensions put on people's hair. It's just like, I love the absurdity of it, in a way. And also like challenge your preconceived ideas about beauty. There's a fine line between the grotesque and the beautiful. I've been burning, like melting the hair and creating these like really, I call them nonsicles. They become these kind of abstract drawings, I mean, it's kind of creepy, but in the end, it's really beautiful. I like to read about the latest, development in like neuroscience and brain research. When I first saw the images of the neurons in the brain, I couldn't believe it. And I had just finished making an installation called Nervescape out of hair, and it was so similar to it. And I did this brown braid called left brain, right brain. It was a way of like imagining landscapes from the interior, but also like the supernovas and the nebulas. And I just read about it yesterday that the latest theory from Stephen Hawking is that the black holes can have memory of things that went through them due to a wall of like small black hair. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Of course, After a while, people were like, okay, so now enough of this hair stuff, you can't do anything else, almost. But I was like, well, if I'm inspired to use it, then I will. I have like no idea how I end up picking the things that I pick. You know, the bearded loner about to bend over. I mean, I just made the sculpture and then I came up with the name and I was like looking at it just like, bearded loner. I was like, why would I'm so prude. Why am I like, everything looks like so like pubic and phallic, and I'm like, oh no. And then I'm just like, well, you know, just that's what happened. My choices in picking like colors and shapes and textures, you know, there's like hundreds of decision making that is like subconscious, conscious. When you've done this for a long time, you know, you kind of start counting on this just gut feeling. And I just kind of like hope and I trust that no matter what I'm working with, it's gonna end up having the same kind of DNA feeling about it, or like my fingerprint on it. I'm a very like colorful personality and I'm very humorous, you know. I mean, I take myself seriously, but I really don't want to take myself ceremoniously. And I think that by using my nickname Shoplifter, you know, I pretty much took care of that. You can't take yourself seriously when you use that name. Generally, I am mostly inspired by humans. Behavior patterns, group mentality, group identity. Like I remember when I was a teenager, I was a breakdancer in the 80s. I had asymmetrical perm. Like it was everybody had asymmetrical perm. Like my husband works in audio, and when I go to the audio conventions, I just see a forest of ponytails. And I did like a piece called Ponytail Panorama, where I just kind of snuck up behind them and I secretly took their picture. It's kind of perverse probably, but I just didn't want to kind of like start this. It was just like my personal experience. I didn't want to make them self-conscious or like start having a big conversation about it. It kind of all comes from the same kind of attempt at creating some particular feeling or my own personal like idea of beauty or ugliness. I did the left brain, right brain for the first time in an exhibition here in New York at ATM Gallery, and Björk saw that and she asked me to help develop her look for the album because it was only recorded with voices, and you know, so she didn't want to be wearing like something. She wanted to have something that was off the body. This is the hair piece. They took a picture and scanned it. That's a hair piece that's hidden here in her own hair. So it's a basketball with human hair strands like that I added onto her hair. But the woman, there's another woman who made the hair. I try to teach myself how to make this, but it's like a really hard technique that you have to train yourself to do. And so she made it for me out of horsehair and human hair. For me, I was just making a still life composition, you know. And that's what I like about kind of like flirting into like fashion, pop art and pop culture, because you can really like transfer the artwork into something wearable. I like to be able to like just have complete freedom, you know, that things don't have to make any sense in other context, you know, than being artwork. And if it has to make sense on the body, then that you can adjust that, and I'm not afraid of it. Floating between disciplines like that, it blurs the line between sculpture and clothing, you know, and it becomes like artwork / wearable artwork / you know, fashion. Again, it's like another layer of the artwork doing a performance on a human being, you know.